next video, everyone. It's been a year, so things have changed, but I think a very topical use of a tutorial, especially for me since I had forgotten how to do this, was how to update your literature library inside Notion, especially if you haven't done it for a while. Here I have my literature library, and you can see that I have all these citations, or all of these references, but I have more that I need to update. So why can't I directly import? Well, when you go here and import merge with CSV, it basically appends or adds a new CSV file to the bottom, regardless of what's in it. That's not great because I like to keep everything in my Notion and my Zotero in alphabetical, and so that messes with things when you export it into something like a CSV file. So we're going to go over to Zotero. Here's my entire reference manager, and why I like Zotero is because it's open source, and I originally chose it from the list of other options because it had the ability to export to CSV, which I can then import into Notion. So this is my most up-to-date. I have it synced, so it has all of my the information of references, but also the PDFs here you can see along the side. I can get into that to another time to how to work with that, but I take all of my notes in Notion, so I just use this as a quick way to navigate to quickly open up a PDF. So first we're going to go export library. We're going to make sure this drop-down menu is selected on CSV. CSV stands for comma separated values, and so that's just a very stripped down way to store basically a giant table. And then we're going to keep everything as default and hit OK. So now we're going to go, this is desktop, I'm going to save it to my Zotero to Notion library. So instead of my library, I'm just going to put today's date. So that's the date, and then I'm just keeping library so I know what it is, and hit save. Now we're done with Zotero, but we're not ready for Notion yet. So I'm actually gonna go here. I have this file already made. I called it my Zotero to Notion maker. And so this is my formula page. Down here you can see I was testing beforehand. And it basically is a maker for a unique key value. Why it's important to have this unique key value is you'll see that each reference from Zotero has an alphanumeric key, but I don't like that. And so I want it to create that, but I'm lazy and I don't want to type that by hand, so I have it automatically make it here for me. So let's open a new page, and we're gonna go to data. We're gonna close that and go from text/CSV file, and this is in Excel. You can also do this, I'm sure, with Google Sheets, but I don't know the functions off the top of my head, if they are the same functions. And so this is new for me. I'm used to like an old view of this, but you can see that it automatically detected the comma. So here's the delimiter. So let's say I put colon first. Now it's looking for the first colon, and it can't find any colons. There's also space, and then it would separate columns based on the space. As you can see, this isn't useful, so because it's a comma separated file. You can have other CSV files that are not commas. They can be like tab or something like that. So now we're going to go load 2. We're going to add it to the existing worksheet as a table. And we're going to hit got it. We are going to close this because that isn't more information than I know what to do with. I'm just going to delete that and delete that. So now we're working on just one page here. So let's rename our sheet so we know what we're doing. Let's put the date 25/12/07 library, because this is what the library is. And now we're going to take and see these keys are those alphanumeric codes that I was talking about. What we're going to do is we're going to take each column that we need for the formula page. And this order is the order that my Notion template is in. So you can see name, title, DOI, author, item type, publication title, and publication year. That is the exact same, minus the tags. But what we need to do is give it a proper table. So let's go back to the library. We'll copy this whole column. So I'm hitting Control-C because I'm on a Windows computer. And that was publication type, and Control-V. And that's just populating it. So as you can see, most of them are journal title, but some of them are thesis. Right? We're just doing that. So as you can see, as I was putting some of this information in, this was creating itself. And so let me zoom in on what's happening here. So this is the formula. I'm just going to minimize these so that we can take a little better look at stuff. So if the length of this, of the author, is minus the length of the author, substitute commas with nothing. If that is greater than 2, then substitute the comma with a 1. And add et al. So that just means if the length, so substituting everything in here, so I'll go to author. If this, substitute all the commas, if the length of that minus, if this minus the length of this minus no commas is greater than 1, i.e. there's more than one author, or is greater than 2, i.e. there's more than 2 authors, then we go to take the first text before the first author. So we will quickly undo that. We will open that up and add et al. The first author, et al. And G2. G2 is the publication year. Else, if that's not true, and we need to have a single author, then we'll substitute commas, 4 spaces for nothing. And if that does equal 2, then we'll put the first and then the second name. So for example, Wells and Brennan, 1979, on row 9. And then if everything fails, we just want the text before D2, so the first name and a space and the last. Now, I don't believe this formula checks to see if it's the first, second, or if it's the only one of that same type. So for example, you know how it goes 2009A, or if it same list of authors and you have multiple publications in the same year. This is more common in the humanities where they have more often single author publications. Well, if there were 2 Yang 2007s, one would be labeled A, one would be labeled B. My formula does not account for that. And so if that happens, I just have to fix it in Notion. Anyway, so we have this. I'm going to copy all of this and I'm going to create a new page, and I'm going to hit right click, value, and this pastes the values, not any of the formulas. I don't want the formulas now. Formulas stay on the formula page. In fact, I'm going to clear this formula page so I don't want any of that in there. So what's interesting is that this has happened. I'm going to take a quick break and figure it out. I figured it out. I hadn't pulled the formula down on my formula page. So if we go down, so here we're going to go edit undo, and that has everything here on the formula page. If I go here where there's nothing on the title here, it's empty. But if I go to the one above it, it has this formula. So I'm actually just going to click and drag this formula down. Apparently 200 was not enough. We're going to take it down to 385 because I know I have 215 or 214 references. So now I'm going to copy this. And we're going to go to sheet 2 and paste. Oop. We want to paste the values only. And if we go down, we have value issues, but it'll come out in the wash. It'll be fine. I don't feel like dealing with it. So now, this is what is on the left here is what's currently in Zotero. However, we have to look at the last time Notion was updated. So I'm gonna look at, see this past file, upload 2025, July 29. So now we're going to take A, B, just take this to G, copy it, go to our sheet 2, and I'm just going to paste values. So now this one is what is present in Notion. Now I'm going to take these, what is everything, I'm going to copy and paste it underneath here. Now I don't need to worry that the title is duplicated. That's fine. So here I'm going to type in a function called unique, and I'm pressing tab to complete. The array, I'm going to click and drag on these columns. I'm going to hit comma by column. So here, this is a helpful question. we're going to hit false because we want unique rows. So false, and then comma again, exactly once. We want this to be false. We want every distinct item because we don't want the only items that happened once. We want we want replicated items to be included. So we're gonna enclose that bracket and hit enter. And that's gonna publish the actually no, we do want it to be only once because we don't want the duplicates. So we're going to change that to true. Now this should be much smaller. I'm going to drag it down one. I'm going to copy this title and put it over here. There. And anything that's empty with the DOIs, I'm just gonna hit delete. Oh, I guess I can't because it's a unique value. That's fine. So now these are good values that are being uploaded to Notion. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go here and paste the values again, and then I'm deleting every other column. So I right click on the headers and go delete. And so the reason why I duplicated and pasted the values, because if I hadn't, this would have returned as null because there would be nothing to be or as a formula error. But because I pasted the values, it's just text. It's not a reference to anything. So now I'm going to rename my sheet as 2025 1207 Notion upload. And now I'm going to save. I will go File, Save As, and we're going to make this CSV file 2025 1107 Notion upload. So then we get a pop-up. The selected file does not support workbooks with multiple sheets. To save the active sheet, click OK. That is exactly what I want. I just want the active sheet. All right. Now we can close this, and we can see here our Notion upload. So make sure you don't upload the library, you only upload the Notion upload file that we've created. Now we can go back to Notion. We'll go up to our handy 3 dots, merge with CSV, choose file. We're going to go up to home, desktop, Zotero Notion, Notion upload. We're going to map CSV headers. Use first row as headers. Perfect. So this is the CSV file contents, and this is the Notion library. We're going to double check that everything looks the way we want it. And we can preview. That looks good. Import CSV. Now, nothing looks like it's changed, but if we scroll down, we can see that there are these ones with zeros in which weren't there before, which came from the Notion. So that's perfect. And then yes, this one had a letter, but I'm going to and just make that an A, because I know that's what that was. Oop. An accented A. And if we could look up in the A's, it's right there. Perfect. And that is how you update a Notion library from a Zotero library. All right, that's all for today. Take care, everyone.